Hello, I welcome you all to this Garbete UPSC channel, and I am so delighted today to have with me Vasant Dabholkar, who has secured All India rank 76, and he's surely going to get his IAS rank. Uh, the reason why we need to celebrate Vasant's success is because his is a story of coming from a very small town of Vengurla, which is in Sindhudurg district in west coast of Maharashtra, and therefore unlike all the other aspirants who dream to achieve this IAS post and go through a lot of struggles, Vasant has gone through similar struggles in his life and achieved this great, grand success, I would say, with very minimal financial background and no kind of formal coaching as such. And yet he has achieved this feat, which we all dream of. So I welcome you, Vasant, and heartiest congratulations. So how are you feeling now?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much, sir, for inviting me on this meet. So thank you so much again, and thank you so much for throughout your support of mentorship. So once again, thank you. And of course, I feel good because all the hard work I have put in, all the hours and hours of study I have put in, also my family's strong support, all things came to a success. So that's why I'm feeling really good.
That's great. Vasant has a diverse DAF. We will discuss about it and how he prepared himself for this all these stages. So first, I'll start with the prelim stage, Vasant. That is becoming the biggest challenge. If you have seen the 2023 paper, I at least heard about it. So how does one go about preparing for the prelims, and what was your strategy during the past few attempts?
Yes. So first of all, talking about the toughness of the paper, it's tough for everyone. For example, when I saw the paper, I was feeling like little bit anxious that how difficult paper is it. But at the same time, I was happy that I should not have to give the prelim again. So that way, that was so tough.
Yes.
So all things the aspirant must take into consider that if it's tough for themselves, if
Mhm.
tough for everyone, like
Correct.
if it's tough for you, it's tough for everyone. So it's the matter of just like 4 or 5 questions you are making it correct, so that you will be in the list. And the difference between those who are clearing the those who are getting good numbers and their name in the prelims clearance list, at the same time those who are not making to the result of the prelims, it's just like 4 or 5 questions which are deciding one.
Yes.
And wherein your practice, at the same time your basic knowledge is something very important. For example,
Mhm.
like people go on taking multiple sources, but in my first attempt it used to happen that when I used to see lot of other questions from lot of other books. For example, for modern India there are lot of books. So like when the question used to come from the spectrum, I used to read spectrum. Then the question used to come from other book Bandopadhyay say, so I used to refer that. So at that time what happens is like we go on multiplying our resources and our efficiency get reduced. So at
Mhm.
the same time I want to suggest from all of my experience, at the same time experience from all other toppers, that
Mhm.
please do not go to the multiple resources, just stick to one resource and just revise it
Yes.
multiple time. ये आपको बहुत पहले लोगों ने ये सेम ही बताया होगा, मे बी ये सेम ही
Right.
बता रहा हो, क्योंकि वो वही एक है व्हाट वी से गुरु मंत्र. So that
Yes.
like basic is something very important. Or have a habit of like reading newspaper, or if you are not reading newspaper, at least read watch the current affair analysis on YouTube or something like that, but have a touch of what is
Mhm.
all going around. So if the next prelim have a 1 year from this day, so from this month, just have a habit of what is going on around. So that will definitely help you in like connecting current with the static part. Do not
Yes.
waste your like 3 hours 4 hours in reading newspaper, making notes out of that. Just
Yeah, absolutely.
half hour is sufficient. Either read newspaper summary or like whatever comfortable to you.
Mhm.
At the same time, like static multiple revision, the basic your static books and static concept, that should be very clear. So that will definitely help.
Yeah, so that's a great mantra you have given, and it's a time-tested strategy, as you always say. That streamline your resources. Don't become a material collector first, and divert your attention to multiple sources. That's always been the bedrock of all aspirants and toppers like you. So, and one more thing, as you rightly mentioned, a brief analysis of daily newspaper along with your core reference books, that is your basic concepts. And that is again the constant guru mantra we always talk about. Vasant, I would also like to know from you a very important aspect which is very less discussed in such talks, the psychology of preparation, because that is one of the most important aspects. And even I, during the mentorship, I try to focus on that, because what happens is, even I, when I was an aspirant, it is very difficult to share your, the lows, the downs you face in life, and come out strongly. And one very, I'm so glad to talk about Vasant's success is because he cleared this attempt after his kind of a failure. I don't call it as a failure, but at least in the eyes of people, it sometimes becomes a failure. That even after giving the interview in 2021 attempt, he couldn't get into the final list. And I really should say kudos to you, Vasant, for pulling yourself out of that difficult situation when you don't fathom yourself that how you couldn't come in the final list in spite of giving the interview. And you had a very narrow window of just a few days to prepare for 2022 prelims. So how did you inspire yourself and come out of that kind of a mental situation where you definitely might have felt a bit low when the results came out? So yeah.
Yes, sir, that was actually very difficult situation for me. For example, I had a very high hopes from last year's interview. At the same time, my
Mhm.
mains was pretty good. So at that time, I had at least expectation that my name will be in the list. And in that euphoria, I didn't study it at all. So I remember I haven't even studied like I haven't even read Lakshmi Kant, haven't even
Mhm.
solved any single mock test before prelims. At the same time, my result was negative, so that was a big shock to me. But at the same time, I was like thinking just to skip the UPSC career, because I already had the 2 year of everything. But just in my
Mhm.
mind, I had the thought like, just let's give this prelim. What happens, we don't know. And I have seen the last 2 years paper, and from
Mhm.
that papers, I just got to know that there is nothing called like आप अच्छे से पढ़ोगे तो ही अच्छे मार्क्स आएंगे.
Right.
More or elimination technique used to work till last year. So I just
Mhm.
relied on in my elimination technique, and I just went there, and I didn't had the thought like I'll clear the prelim, I had to give mains
Mhm.
and something, nothing like that. I just sat there, I just wrote my paper, and in my back of the mind, I just had a thought like UPSC chai wala thing, that if I do not clear this prelims, I'll maybe start UPSC chai wala or something like that in the business or something,
Yes.
because the UPSC career is long, and I didn't wanted to invest lot and years in this. But
Yes.
luckily, due to like my back studies, like those like current affairs I studied in 2020 2021, that had helped me in the prelims. I fortunately cleared prelims, and when I checked the score, I was getting like 117, like 118 around, मतलब 117 118 इतना स्कोर आ रहा
Great.
था.
Fantastic.
ट्रस्ट
That's
मी,
great score.
मेरे मॉक टेस्ट में भी कितने कभी स्कोर नहीं है. मॉक टेस्ट में मेरा 90 से ज्यादा कभी स्कोर नहीं गया. पर
Okay.
वो एक्चुअल यूपीएससी पेपर जिसमें मैं पढ़ के नहीं गया था, उसमें मेरा आ गया. तो आई एम नॉट टेलिंग दिस समथिंग एज मैजिक और समथिंग,
Yeah.
बट
Right.
when you apply your elimination technique, and if like the if you go with the free mind,
Ah, that's
then
what I
everything
was
is
coming
good.
to that. Exactly.
Because in my first attempt, what happened, like the COVID attempt was there, and my study was
Mhm.
pretty well. Like I studied around like 13 hours a day. मतलब इतना
Mhm.
स्टडी बहुत ज्यादा हो गया था. पर वो क्या हो गया, 6 महीने की रिगल स्टडी के बाद मैंने प्रीलिम्स में ओवर थिंकिंग किया, तो ओवर थिंकिंग की वजह
Mhm.
से आई जस्ट मिस्ड some question, and just 2 3 questions, and they decide your fate. So that way I
Okay.
just missed the prelim. But it doesn't matter, you miss the prelim by 1 mark or 10 mark, failure is failure. So UPSC is like sheer in this. So I just
Yes.
took it as a like one of the lesson, and in
Mhm.
I immediately started for mains, and I just made my like mains answers and everything,
Yeah.
notes and everything clear. So
Mhm.
in 2022 attempt, I just like 2021 attempt, I was mains ready.
Yes. So that's a very important point. I would say ki a very subtle, simple message, that is believe in yourself and go with a free mind. And I always say to all of those who always text me 1 week before the prelim, sir, kaisa hoga, kya hoga? And from my experience also, and from Vasant's experience also, I can say the more clear mind and the more free mind you go, it's a bit easier to give answers to the tricky questions in those 2 hours because you're less pressurized. And we see the same during the sports person also. If you have seen at some of the sports person, I always correlate sports psychology with UPSC psychology because it's one and the same. With the more free you have your mind, the more clear your thought process is. And I would also like to pull all of your attention to one more aspect, is that Vasant has also undergone a mindfulness program. He has gone through his meditation. He practices meditation. And he has also gone through the Vipassana course, that is for the meditation. So I would like to know how this helped you during this preparation, because we always talk of mental pressures, depression during this preparation phase. So how did this help you, and what would you suggest to the aspirants to practice yoga or meditation to help them recover? Yes.
Yes, actually, meditation is something which helps you definitely. For
Mhm.
example, if you're facing problems in life like depression, anxiety are the common problems when it comes to mental health. But if you are
Mhm.
facing that, meditation will not cure your problem. Definitely, it's all the things which are preventive. Like
Mhm.
they meditation, yoga, something which make you very strong from inside,
Right.
so that in upcoming time it make you more stronger and stronger and stronger. But if you are finding this as a cure, this will help, but in a minute thing. If you
Right.
have some like serious problem, then the clinical treatment or the
Yeah.
doctor wise treatment will definitely help. But surely when it comes to UPSC preparation, if you are practicing some kind of like practice of meditation or the sitting, just sitting listening to the sound, which we say transcendental meditation,
Mm.
or any kind
Yes.
of spiritual practice, if your religion allows that or something like that, then it
Mhm.
definitely helps you in like looking inward. For example, throughout our day, even in the sleep, we look outside, like whatever happening event outside, we just
Mhm.
focus on them and we just think about them, we memorize them, we reproduce them, everything is just related to outside. But
Mhm.
what is there inside is something very important,
Yeah.
not only in UPSC preparation, but in day-to-day life as well. Because you will feel like how you are feeling inside, how happy
Yes.
you are, like how sad you are, what are your emotions. Like
Mhm.
knowing yourself is something very important. For example, in my essay, I used to write like your greatest contribution to humanity is your self-realization only. Is the
Correct.
quote quoted by Ramana Maharshi. Your
Mhm.
greatest contribution to humanity is your self-realization only. It's a big word, and I think
Mhm.
I even don't know like whether we all understand it in our life, that what is our goal for the self-realization. But at least if you are on the path, like we are looking inside, then it's even sufficient for the UPSC preparation to
Mhm.
excel.
Yeah, that's a great point you made, and it's important to have a consultation with someone if you have a clinical and a deep problem. But at the same time, having a self belief, self motivation through yoga, meditation, music, that's a fantastic way. Even watching sometimes a good documentary, a positive documentary. And I would also add one more thing from my experience, that is, try to have a very close knit circle of friends or mentors with whom you can share your problems. That can act as a safety valve, right? To have an outlet to the pressure you are having. So have try to share those problems with anyone who you feel as reliable, right? So that that can lessen your burden, and that's a fantastic thing you have done, Vasant. And I would also like to know about a very interesting aspect of your life journey is traveling. Not many can do it while managing their studies, but what Vasant did very brilliantly is after his exams, he used to take a small hiatus or a break, I would say, and then used to travel across various parts of the country. And I would call it a backpack tour, which is a very low budget tour. So, in spite of him facing his own financial troubles, he tried to manage it somehow. So, I'd like to know more about this and how it helped you to understand various people, various cultures, and in a way also add to your personality during this preparation.
Yes, sure, sir. Actually, it's a very enthusiastic hobby one can have, especially
Mhm.
solo traveling or backpacking, we say. Actually, UPSC allows you to take a break as well. For example, अगर आपने 1 डेढ़ साल अच्छे से प्रिपेयर किया, तो आपको पता चल जाता है कि प्रिपरेशन में क्या है. and what is there, what is not there. And if you are writing mains, then after mains the immediate result will not come. At the
Yeah.
same time interview के लिए इतना ज्यादा भी preparation नहीं लगता कि आप mains के
Mhm.
दूसरे दिन ही start कर दो, unlike prelims wherein mains is just on the like less than 3 months, so next day immediately we have to start after the prelims. But
Yes.
this is not related to mains. Like after mains you get adequate time. So what I
Mhm.
used to do, like I used to go on the trips or backpacking or something like that, and for that I
Mhm.
used to earn by like teaching students, by mentorship or
Mhm.
something like that. So that whatever earned money I have, I used to go to the trip without
Yeah.
asking the money from the parents. So
Yeah.
that way my backpacking journey was. And actually my optional was anthropology. Even UPSC teaches you lot of subjects. So when you apply that subjects to the society, you understand the
Yes.
society better. For example, in
Mhm.
anthropology, we have the term of field work. So in field
Mhm.
work, the anthropologists go in the society, live in the
Absolutely.
society, like watches whatever they are doing and why they are doing that, whatever concepts the society have, and how why it is that. For
Mhm.
example, if we see Rajasthan's Ghungat Paddhat, the
Mhm.
main thing is like environmental thing. For example, if
Mhm.
I was going there, I
Mhm.
enclosed myself with all the like turbans and something like that,
Mhm.
because the
Mhm.
heat is so scorched.
Yeah.
For example,
Correct.
if you go to South India, they wear lungi. Why? Because the heat is like that, that you
Mhm.
have to cover your body with the white clothes, especially white lungi or
Yes.
something like that. So that
Mhm.
way, or if you go to Uttarakhand or Kashmir, the sweater is necessity. So environmental,
Mhm.
and their entire food is related to the environment. For
Yes.
example, in summer, Rajasthan, the water or liquid related things, the more consumption is there. In South India, year-round consumption of sambar, which is a very fine liquid
Yeah.
curry, is consumed, because a lot
Mhm.
of water intake needs to be there because heat is there. But if we see the North India, in winter, the roti or the heavy paneer or something like that is being eaten just because to prevent us from the winter. So that
Yeah.
way, if we relate our subject with the society we are traveling to, then actually it fascinates a lot. And
Yeah.
we get to know a lot of people. We talk, like we interact with them. We make a connections. We go
Yes.
on travel with them. So that way, actually, it improves our personality. In
Absolutely.
UPSC, I want to suggest to the aspirants that what happens, like UPSC is a very isolated preparation phase,
Mm.
and in that people lack social skills. After when they
Absolutely.
come out of their cocoon, I say it cocoon because the enclosed room of library or the old Rajendra Nagar is like cocoon, and when they
Mhm.
come out of cocoon, they feel that like they are lacking social skills, or
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
what other societies proceeding forward, like going here and there using social media, this and that, and they are like neglected, or their social skills are
Yes.
lacking. So if like for 1.5 year you have to do rigorous hard work, no
Study.
doubt
Yeah.
about it. But
Mm.
after 2 years, like after means, when you write the means, take it as a reward, that after means I'll go on like 15 days break or 20 days break or something like that, because that will actually
Recharge you.
like
Yeah.
make you fresh, exactly. And
Yes.
that, and take it as a not as a traveling as a hobby, but take it as a social skills, like improving your
Yeah.
soft skills, talking to people, mixing with the people, adopting their culture and something like that.
Yeah, that's great. And that really adds value addition. As you rightly mentioned, it refreshes you, it rejuvenates you, it recharges you. And most importantly, it also adds to your social skills, which even I have experienced that aspirants, once they crack this examination, it's very difficult for them to gel with the society because they have enclosed themselves in their environment. Right? And they have a kind of a very backlash in their mind that how will I gel well unless and until you don't have that skill. So kudos to you for that, doing that. Let's talk about your mains journey, right? Let's start with the essay writing, which is the very first paper in GS mains. Those who are watching this, most of you might already be having or joining Vasant's Telegram channel, but those who are new, you can join his Telegram channel. I will put that in the description box below. So, how did you prepare for essay? Right, having this, I have read your essays, evaluated that, and one beautiful thing I always realize is the way you introduce it, the philosophical angle and the 360-degree angle. But what sources did you refer and how did you prepare for that?
Yes, talking about essay is like very make or break situation. If we see today, like this year's paper,
Yeah,
some people are getting like 130. Like I scored 132. Last year I scored 139. And some people who are like very brilliant and their GS score is good, they are getting 96, 100,
100.
106 or
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
true.
And which
Mhm.
are very like this skewed situation and extreme
Mhm.
marking system. So
Yeah,
that way, I think essay is something we should have a 365 degree look,
yeah,
360 degree look,
yes.
because for example, giving my example of last year. Last
Mhm.
year, I wrote the essay of the hands that rocks the cradle rules the
Mhm.
world.
Mhm.
Hands that rocks the cradle rules the world. So
Mhm.
there, I use the introduction as a simple as a woman is a full circle, like she
Yes.
have ability of giving
Mhm.
birth, nurture, protect and
Mhm.
everything. She
Mhm.
have the capability which even men cannot have, like giving a
Mhm.
birth or something. And
Yes.
that way, just simply I just introduced, and in that woman
Yes.
essay I did not restricted that essay to only women, but I extended the womanhood to the transgender community, at the same time LGBTQA community, at the
Yes.
same time the men who are like doing the responsibilities of womanhood. For
Mhm.
example, the Manjamma Jogati.
Mhm.
At that time, there was a viral video when she got the Padma Award. She
Mhm.
extended her blessing to Honorable President Ramnath Kovind ji. So that way,
Mhm.
I wrote the womanhood within her, like being a trans
Yeah,
woman, she is doing her work and everything. At the
fantastic.
same time, I even extended the womanhood to the men. For example, Indian businessmen, like various business houses, have extended the scholarship to the students who have lost their parents during COVID.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I wrote there that by giving the scholarship to the educating children, they are actually performing the duties of the womanhood. So that way, I
Yes.
haven't limited to women itself, but I extended to everyone. So that way, the like multiplicity of dimensions are something very important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
even Asha worker and Anganwadi Sevikas. At that
yeah,
time, COVID vaccination was
so
going
true.
on.
So true.
At that time, COVID vaccination was going on. So I extended that they are like vaccinating children and they are taking care of their health. They are not only taking care of children, but adults and old age and every component of the society. So that
Mhm.
way they are performing the work of womanhood.
Brilliant, I would say. So that is, see, we all read these things, but it's only about how you can apply that during those 3 hours and can correlate with the topic you have chosen, right? And that is something, it is a skill you need to develop by thinking, analyzing, and practicing it. One thing I'd like to ask you is, even for prelims, I forgot to ask
I
you.
just wanted to add even forest wala. Ki,
Mhm.
this year I wrote the
Sure.
essay on forest are the
Mhm.
case studies for economy.
Okay.
So in that essay, I wrote like I given different analogies. Like
Mhm.
you see, if the like rain is falling, then what happens? The seed gets sprouted.
Mhm.
Then the वो अंकुरित होता है बीज और उससे एक जंगल
Mhm.
बनता है सारे
Right.
बीजों से. सो
Mhm.
दैट वे अगर ज्यादा बारिश गिरती है तो क्या होता है कि वो रॉटन हो जाएंगे सीड्स और वो
Mhm.
जो जो नई जो पैदाइश है वो सब खत्म हो जाएगा.
Right.
So that
Mhm.
way, in economy, we need adequate liquidation. And if we have
Correct.
the adequate liquidation, the economy will thrive, businesses will boost, and the loan lending, everything will be fine. But at the
Mhm.
same time, if over liquidation will happen, then what happen? The every like economy will get destroyed or the hyperinflation will happen. So I
Very.
connected forest with the ecology. So that
Yes.
way, they connecting the topics are something important. Even I wrote like if forests are protecting tribes inside them,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
tribals god culture food
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
entire their livelihood is dependent on the forest itself, and forest is doing it selflessly. So it's the any economy's responsibility to protect its destitutes and the vulnerable
Vulnerable
section
sections. Yes.
the way India does. So that way. So the connection of the points is something important, and this will not, ये like ये आप प्रिपेयर करके नहीं जा सकते, वो
Correct.
जो एनोलॉजी है वो एट दैट मोमेंट और क्राइसिस मोमेंट आप बना सकते हैं, पर जो इंट्रोडक्शन
Yes.
है या कंक्लूजन है,
Mm-hmm.
वो जो पार्ट है वो आप डेफिनेटली पहले बना के जा सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल इन कंक्लूजन, इफ देयर इज समथिंग ऑन द वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री यू कैन रिलेट, आई हैड द conclusion like the statement is like that: the world has seen enough of hatred, warfares,
Mm-hmm.
battle, or the bloodsheds. So, as a
Mm-hmm.
bona fide citizen of this global village, it's our moral and ethical responsibility to bring out peace and to spread the
Mm-hmm.
love.
Wow,
At the
fantastic.
same time, the Amrit Kal and
Mm-hmm.
national education policy, value-based education are something like you can put in your conclusion, or the Sanskrit quote of Sarve Jana Sukhino Santu, Sarve Jana
Yeah.
Sukhino Bhavantu. So that
Mm-hmm.
way you can use them in your actual means conclusion.
Yeah.
Essay.
It's fantastic. And the key to this, I would say, is Vasant understood the topic well and correlated that. Because when I took this exercise of the same topic which you talked about, forest are, a role model for the economy. Most of them wrote about the importance of forest. That was not expected, right? It was expected to correlate forest and how we learn from forest into our economic system, right? So that is what, once you understand the topic, you need to correlate it with the live examples. So kudos to you. So I was coming to the point. Did you have any mock test for prelims as well as mains? Because that is a question which many people ask me. Sir, how do the toppers prepare? Do they have similar mock tests like us? And how is the strategy to write answers or to prepare for prelims?
For prelims, I think students should choose their own, because right now
Mm-hmm.
the pattern is changing. But
Right.
when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the mains, I wrote a Forum IAS test series because I
Mm-hmm.
found their paper are very close to the UPSC papers.
Right.
Last
Mm-hmm.
year I wrote the Sunya IAS paper. But this
Mm-hmm.
year I found Forum IAS paper really good and very close to UPSC paper. For example, their
Okay.
ethics paper was very lengthy. एट दैट
Mm-hmm.
टाइम आई यूज टू फाइंड लाइक कितना लेंदी पेपर है, पर मैंने
Mm-hmm.
यूपीएससी का पेपर देखा तो वो उससे भी ज्यादा लेंदी था. सो दैट
Right.
वे इट
Mm-hmm.
हेल्प्स
Yeah. That's
when you are
great.
practicing the
Mm-hmm.
mains paper. First thing, like those who are like newcomers in this field, those who are
Mm-hmm.
writing the mains first, like new fresh. So
Mm-hmm.
what will happen is like आप पहले जब सॉल्व करोगे तो 14-15 क्वेश्चन ही होंगे, सारे
Mm-hmm.
क्वेश्चन नहीं कवर होंगे. तो
Yes.
बच्चे फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं कि वेदर
Mm-hmm.
आई विल बी एबल टू डू दैट, और मैं इस कैपेबल हूँ क्या, ऐसे सेल्फ डाउट भी आते हैं. सो
Right.
मेक श्योर दैट नेक्स्ट टाइम यू आर डूइंग जस्ट 16 क्वेश्चन,
Yes.
उसके बाद यू आर जस्ट डूइंग 17 क्वेश्चन, उसके बाद
Mm-hmm.
18, 19 और फिर 20, फिर आपका पेपर
Yes.
पूरे के पूरा कवर होगा. सो ऐसा हो ही होगा नहीं कि हार्डली रेयरली
Mm-hmm.
हो सकता है कि आपके 20 आउट ऑफ 20 क्वेश्चन फुल
Yeah.
without leaving any blank spaces you can cover. But if
Yeah.
you are covering less paper, like less paper, next time make sure that you are attempting just one more question extra.
Yes. So this brings me to an important question that during examination, let's say once you practice enough, there are going to be questions which no one can answer, right? But yet we make an effort to write them, right? So how do you manage those questions where you know very little or you don't know anything? Do you leave them or do you make an effort to write them and yet score good marks? So that is something which many people ask.
I think leaving in the paper is not at all affordable. You have to
Hmm.
attempt every each and
All
every
the
question, each
questions,
and every
yes.
page exactly, because the
Hmm.
competition is cutthroat. And even if you are getting 1 or 2 marks in that like question which you
Hmm.
are attempting and which you don't know properly, then even it can like boost your rank by 4. Because in
Hmm.
currently, if you see one number, like one mark have the 4 ranks currently. If you see the
Hmm.
statistics of this
Yes, yes.
ranking of the UPSC.
Hmm.
So that way you
Hmm.
can't leave. Each and every 1 mark counts. So
Counts.
that it's important. So
Hmm.
like wherein you don't know the specificity, like specific things about that question, you can write the generic things which will
Hmm.
not be false and which will not question your integrity. At the same time, it will be in the periphery of the that entire content. For example, like Gothenburg protocol wala question was there regarding acid rain.
Yeah.
So आई डिड नॉट, मतलब वो एग्जैक्ट क्या था गोथेनबर्ग प्रोटोकॉल याद नहीं था. पर ऐसा
Hmm.
ही होगा कि अगर गोथेनबर्ग प्रोटोकॉल दिया है और वो ऐसे ट्रेन से रिलेटेड है, तो सारी कंट्रीज का कोलैबोरेशन के बारे में एक पॉइंट होगा। एक पॉइंट में ऐसा होगा कि रिसर्च को फैसिलिटेट किया जाए। एक पॉइंट ऐसा हो सकता है
करेक्ट।
कि सब प्लेटफॉर्म्स का यूज करके वो एसिड रेन कैसे टैकल किए, वो जो elements which are contributing to acid rain, either we should minimize it or either we should scrap it, or
Okay.
the we should not use it,
Use it.
something like that. So that way कुछ ऐसे points होंगे, so that way you can write whatever is the relevant with that protocol, and that way whatever there is in the structure you can write that.
Yes, no, that
Yes.
is a very important point and very lesser discussed point. And thanks for this input, because this is how you can make a difference between those who come in the list and those who don't. जो लोग एकदम blank हो जाएंगे, they will not make an attempt. But if you make an honest attempt and you know the at least the periphery की ऐसा हो सकता है, this is the strategy which you need to adopt. So, can you tell in brief what sources did you refer for GS 1, 2, 3, 4? Obviously, you have mentioned a lot in your Telegram channel already, but just briefly, what sources did you refer for GS 1, 2, 3, 4? And how did you prepare?
I think most of the sources very common they are. I used I had earlier used the multiple sources and compiled my own notes in 2021, and for that, like my mains attempt, I used my own notes, which were
Yes.
so making 2-3 pager note is something very important. For example, the Micronodes. I even uploaded the why Micronodes are important video on my YouTube channel and the Telegram channel too. So Micronote is something very refined version of your notes which will you use in the mains examination. For example, in the mains, what happens is you have very less time between your papers. In the GS1 and GS2, you have 2 hours of gap. In the GS3 and the GS4, you have 2 hours of gap. And before going to GS1 and GS2, probably if you wake up at 6 a.m., you have hardly 3 hours before going to the exam. So at that very minimal time, if you revise your main crux notes, which are in the form of micro notes in very less pages, then actually that can assist you in your preparation before going to the exam hall. So for example, entire constitution we can't remember the 350, 400, whatever the articles are, we can't remember that, and it's not expected as well because it's a generic exam and we are not lawyers to like mug up entire constitution and everything. But some like 30 articles, 20 or 30 articles will be there which you must refer in your paper to give authenticity of whatever data you are writing. For example, if the question is on governor, then office of governor in the constitution is provided by article number X to Y, which envisages the office of governor, and these are his duties X, Y, Z, whatever it may be. For example, if the question is on the finance commission, then article number X, Y, Z. If the question is on the interstate council, then article number ABC, whatever it may be. So whatever articles which are very important, you should know this. And before going into the exam hall, if you can revise important Supreme Court cases, important articles, then actually it can help you in reproducing the same in the paper, and it will not consume your time in memorizing that. For example, अगर एक क्वेश्चन में आपको श्योर शॉट आता है आंसर, आपका रेडीमेड इंट्रोडक्शन कंक्लूजन तैयार है, तो आपका एक लाइक 6.5 मिनट में क्वेश्चन कवर हो सकता है or 7 minutes max to max. But if you don't know the answer and if you have to make the answer, then it take like 7 minutes or 7.5 minutes to 8 minutes, something like that. So extra half minute we need to save in order to complete our paper. So that way it's very important that आप पूरी तैयारी के साथ पेपर हॉल में जाए.
Yes, this is a very important point, time management, because you don't have time to even blink your eyes, in those 3 hours, because it's a very lengthy paper at times. So that's something which you need to take away from this discussion, friends. I would also like to know about your strategy for ethics, how you prepared for the case studies and those key points, because you already had a lot of reading out philosophical topics, but what did you refer for GS4 and how did you practice for GS4?
I prepared GS4 and essay combinedly because both paper are correlated, I feel. And during prelims to mains, I used to allocate half hour just to collect the examples or the good case studies, whatever I can write in my essay and ethics. So the notes are uploaded on Telegram channel, so
Yes.
students can actually download it, print it, and use them, and add their own examples to that, so that entire the next batch of aspirants will get more examples of essay and ethics by
Yes.
combining my examples and aspirant examples.
Yes, surely. And the work you're doing is really commendable and it is going to help a lot of aspirants. So thanks for that initiative you have had for Telegram channel. Let's come to your optional subject, which is also an area where you have scored excellent. I guess 280 plus you have scored. It is a very good score. So how did you choose your optional and where did you prepare your optional from? Because that is also a very scoring subject. So what was your strategy for your optional? What sources did you refer?
Uh, Actually, why I chose anthropology over mechanical engineering is a question I got even in interview.
Interview.
So I told them that mechanical engineering is a 4-year vast syllabus, and I wanted to make my preparation joyful and enjoyable. So I chose another subject, and I found anthropology very related to my background, the place where from which I am coming. So that way, on the pragmatic reasons, I chose anthropology. So that was my own reason why I took the anthropology, and that was the same reason I told in my interview. And I
Interview.
think the honesty they like.
Yes.
I didn't say that बचपन से मुझे anthropology से प्यार था और मुझे बचपन से ही anthropology पढ़ना था तो मैंने ले लिया. So I didn't speak
Yes.
that such kind of thing.
So how did you prepare then? What sources as standard references or what kind of test series did you join for that?
Actually, the sources are there on the Telegram and everything.
Okay, great.
So I referred to a lot of toppers notes and everything. So
Yeah,
that's it.
those.
Not major preparation, but
Mhm.
those I used. That's
Okay.
it. But I took around 3 to 4 months for complete anthropology preparation
So you prepared
at
that
least.
before prelims, at least one reading you had when you started preparation?
Pardon, sir.
Yeah, so I'll repeat. Did you prepare your entire optional or you had one reading of optional before prelims or you had half of the syllabus completed and other half later on? Yes.
Actually, the exact thing I do not recall, but what I used to do is like I used to divide my slots of the day in like 2 or 3 slots, so that entire day अगर एक subject में पूरा दिन पढ़ने गए तो बोर हो जाता है कभी कभी या like lethargy आ जाती है. तो 3 subject अगर parallelly के morning slot, afternoon slot and evening slot, something like that, which is as per your division of time. So that way it helps to cover parallelly all the 3 subjects. So that
Okay.
used to my strategy. That like in the morning I used to do GS subject, in the afternoon optional and something like that.
Okay, great. So the last topic is your interview, where you have scored brilliantly. That is 195, 195, right? 96. So
Yes.
that is one of the highest scores. So how did you pull yourself out from the last year's kind of the less marks you got, and you worked upon so hard for this interview? What will you share about your interview experience this time?
Actually, like what I'll say is like last year I gave my best in the interview, but I answered the question on the GS lines. Like if they ask me the question, I'll say like first point, second point, third point, likewise the whatever the GS related things are. But this year, luckily, I got the analytical question or the value based questions, wherein I could portray my values or what are my own ethical system is, or what are my thinking things, or what is my background or something like that. For example, I got a question on tell me vision and mission of your life, or tell me the 3 things which you are proud that you are from Maharashtra, or why you choose
Yes.
anthropology or mechanical engineering. So I
Mhm.
think honesty rewards you a lot when it comes
Yes.
to the UPSC interview. So wherein I don't know, I used to simply say I don't know, sir. So
Okay.
I'll read about it. Nothing like that, the guesswork and everything, nothing. So the one question I got is like the mental health act, regarding mental health act. I got a question, and wherein the detailed provisions I was not able to recollect. So at that point, the panel member asked me to guess. He told me just you can guess because it's just a codified version and you can
Mhm.
guess about it. You have studied a lot and everything, so you might guess. So I told them like it's a codified version, and I feel from my position it's not correct for me to
Mhm.
guess about any legislation because it's a codified version by the parliament.
Mhm.
So sorry, sir,
Yes.
but I'll read about it. So
Okay.
that way, I think the honesty got rewarded.
Yeah, that's true. Honesty is always the best policy, right? And don't bluff, as I always say, and stick to your DAF. Make your DAF also very honest and to the point, and that is what has helped Vasant score 195, which is one of the highest score. So we always say Shilam Parama Bhushanam, right? That is a tagline which many people keep in the status while preparing for the UPSC. So I would say don't just keep it as a status, but imbibe it and internalize it and make it as a part of your personality, and your true
Yes.
personality will reflect in your interview. And Vasant has always been humble, down to earth, and honest about his preparation. I have seen his preparation for the last 2 years. So that is what rewards honesty, sincerity, smart work, right? And your ability to be social, right? And the ability to serve the country. Vasant uses the word lokaseva very oftenly if you have seen other interviews of Vasant. So if you prepare this exam from the point of view of Loko Seva, I guess this exam will be more rewarding than just trying to please someone or to gain a rank out of it. So any last message you'd like to give Vasant to those who are preparing about this examination?
Firstly, the study smart, I say,
Mm.
because smart work is something rewarded me a lot. Wherever I'm today, it's because of smart work in the
Yes.
mains and in the entire process, in the prelims and in the entire various stages of the UPSC. Hard work you have to put in. There is no option. For example, you have to study 10 plus hours daily.
Mm.
So there is no option for that. But at the same time, whatever you are doing, just put in smart work to that. How you can minimize your work, so that way it will help you and it will get rewarded definitely.
Yes. So thank you so
Yes.
much,
And why
Vasant.
you want to do civil
Yes.
services, why you want to
Mhm.
do civil services, which the question you will get in the interview phase, you should
Okay.
prepare it first question before you
Yes.
start the UPSC preparation, because that will keep you motivating, because in daily life you will not get motivation to study daily, to wake
Yes.
up daily, to sit for long hours. You need a constant motivation, and that should come from within yourself, not from external YouTube or social media or something like that.
Correct.
No one will motivate you daily, so your internal motivation should be there, and that
Mm.
will come from how badly you want it, how
Yes.
strongly you want it, and how early you want it.
Fantastic. And that is so important message.
Yes.
Motivation is temporary and discipline is permanent, I always say. So keep that motivation, but use it for disciplined work. Vasant is an inspiration for all of us. I'm really thankful to Vasant for sharing his time from all his busy schedule and inspiring thousands of people through Telegram channel, through all these interviews he is having. And I wish you all the best in this Loka Seva, and I'm sure that you will leave an indelible mark and create a positive change in our society through civil services, and I'm sure of that. So thanks a lot, Vasant, and looking forward to more such sessions in future once you join the services and to know more about your experience in serving our country. Jai Hind and hearty congratulations once again. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind.